Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Our guest today is helping corporate leaders, business individuals to scale and sustain their growth. He is the author of best-selling book, The SMT Training Method, Joseph Drolshagen. Joseph, welcome to the PowerTalk Show.
It's great to be here with you, Nevin.
It's our pleasure. I want to start the conversation by understanding what actually is subconscious mind training, the SMT method that you talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the book behind me right here. And it's Reprogramming Your Subconscious Mind, the SMT Method to Rapid Results. And that's really what it is let me take have you ever heard of the term anxious attachment?
No, never.
Okay. So it happens a lot in business. And the way you can identify it is when you start chasing clients, when you start working endless hours, when you start continue, that's the only thing on your mind is your business. And it's all based on the fact of being attached to the revenue where you want to be or need to be at. So what happens, and that's all in the subconscious programming. So I'll go through it really quick. Okay. We have a conscious mind. In our conscious mind is where we know what we want. We know what size we want our business to be. We know how fast we want to ramp up. We, some idea of what our team looks like, all of that stuff. We know what we want to do in life, where we want to travel. All that's in the conscious mind, but it's also, we have control over our conscious mind. We have control over the words we use, the thoughts we entertain, the people we, converse with, things like that. And then there's a subconscious. And in the subconscious, there's what I call a motherboard of all of our programming, of everything that's been programmed within us from the time we were little kids to through school, through jobs, through relationships. All of that is programmed within that subconscious. And what happens is that subconscious, it's the voice we hear in our head with those thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere. But it also more critical is the subconscious is what triggers the brain waves to the actions we take or don't take. So when you have somebody who has conditioning in them, like financial, because it's across the board, where we all understand that is financial struggle, where you struggle financially over and over and over and over, and the programming is, all of that is in there to struggle. It's like we can't take it. Something prevents us from taking actions that would cause us to stop struggling. It's actually working. The programming is working against us. So taking that now to that anxious attachment. When we're anxiously attached to things, then we start going more based on our logical mind of what we think can help and chasing clients, working more hours. For a lot of businesses, it's cutting pricing and things like that and stuff, trying to get more, revenue going and stuff, but it only works against us. So the SMT method, subconscious mindset training, is all about going in, identifying those, and then having the tools to very rapidly shift that programming. And as we do so, we start opening up to greater results with the same or less effort going into it. And the reason we're able to do that is because once we shift that programming, now we have different programming that sparks that, that sparks that action within us to take that will bring us further along down the line.
So
thank you.
When you talk about a training or a method, have you put across a framework that an individual or a leader can follow, a step-by-step guidelines that will help them as a personal development?
Absolutely. The way the method is set up is there's a portal, an online portal, and it has modules, each week or every other week, and it's set up in 2 parts and stuff. But it walks them right through that process. And I'll tell you, my clients come out of the gate having tools to start identifying and shifting that programming. But then what we do with the one-on-one coaching along with it is we start helping people, because so often we don't even know the programming that's going on. It's so natural and we're so used to it, we don't even realize it. So it's fun for me when I'm working with clients to help them identify what that limiting pattern is and how it's playing out, so that you get that light bulb moment, and then we can shift that and move in. But there's portals, there's one-on-one coaching, there's, a lot that go into the method to help start shifting that. And one of the things that's unique about the SMT method is most coaching programs, business coaching programs, business growth programs are based on a locked, concrete model. And no matter where you are, when you come in, you have to adjust yourself to that model. No matter who's coming in, wherever they're coming in from, they have to adjust themselves to that model, which is why less than 1% of the people following those ever achieves the same results as the person who put it together. The
Mhm.
SMT method, because I tried a lot of those early on in my learning stages and stuff, and I learned a lot, but it never really brought me the results that I was seeking. And I couldn't figure out why. Well, then as I progressed further, I started identifying it's because I don't fit that model. So the SMT method is based on a model. The model is locked, but it's fluid. So the model, wherever you come from, the model will meet you. If somebody else comes in from this way, the model will meet them. It's based on the uniqueness of the individuals I'm working with, more so than just here's the model and you have to contort yourself to follow that model.
Dr. Joseph, there's so many courses, there's so many LMS models out there currently. People
Yeah.
are teaching different things to different programming, different training methods. How would you differentiate from them? And as an individual and as a corporate leader, what benefits do I really get when I subscribe or I take your program?
So as far as what differentiates is exactly what I was saying earlier
Yes.
is it works. It's based on the uniqueness of every individual. Then let me give you an example of that. I have 4 siblings. And I just
Hmm.
had one of these conversations the other night with my brother, and we talk about all the events that happened growing up and camping and, people getting lost and falling out of campers and all the stuff that happened, as kids, the stories of the family stories. And when we talk about that, there's 5 different versions of that story. And it's because even though we grew up in the same household with each other, our perceptions that we build from that in that programming is unique to each of us 5 children. Who
Yeah.
aren't children now, but each of us 5 siblings, I should say.
Yeah.
And so that's a really good example of the uniqueness of our programming. Going into that and working with that off of that uniqueness, now all of a sudden we can start going forward. We come out of the gate with every client I work with, developing what the SMT method calls a dynamic vision. It's what is that out there that you want to achieve? What's it look like? How's it feel to be that person living that life? Because ultimately, to achieve success in business, we have to become that successful business owner internally before it will ever show up externally. Otherwise, we're just going to keep fighting it further and further and further down the line. And so
Yeah.
as we start bringing alignment to all of this stuff, and then even like, I talked about the vision is unique to every individual. The programming is unique to every individual. The tools utilized are, unique to there's a lot of tools available as far as shifting it and a lot of ways of doing that stuff. But then even as we get further in and we start developing systems of accelerating habits, out of the hundreds of clients I've served, not 2 of them have the same systems of accelerating habits. They're unique to that individual, and they're things that work for that individual. So here's another programming is I'm sure you've heard the phrase, if you want something, find somebody who's done it and do what they did,
Yeah.
right? But that never
Yeah.
ever works. And it's because
Absolutely.
that person's working off their uniqueness. So what the SMT method does is it helps business owners, it helps individuals develop their unique roadmap to success. And now, as they see that and as their business starts thriving and they have more freedom of time and all of that stuff is happening in their life, not only can they use that in that business, but any other adventure, endeavor, business thing that they go into, they have their roadmap now. It lasts the rest of their life.
Absolutely. And Dr. Joseph, as you mentioned, everybody has a unique challenge and they have a different view how they view that challenge. But you have worked with so many entrepreneurs and founders. What is the one common challenge that you see across all individuals and business leaders in the current scenario?
Yeah, I could say fear because fear is one, right? That's a roadblock and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
one of the other ones I find is almost every business owner that I work with, the first thing I have to do is get them to throttle back a little bit because they end up getting going. They're chasing clients, all the stuff we talked about, anxiety and all that. And so what they do is they go harder and they put more hours and they work. And not only are they working when they're at the office or working on the job, but they're working so often in their mind with all the anxieties, doubts, fears, all that stuff going on. So the first thing I have to get them to do is to throttle back a little bit. And the way I do that is through developing that dynamic vision, because you cannot develop a powerful vision to live by in your life and be doing 150 miles an hour at the same time. So I
Wow.
help them to throttle that back. I give them some tools right up front from the first time I speak to them, and that start bringing that slow down a little bit to them to allow them some time to, I mean, really breathe, to some. And then as we start developing the vision, we back it off a little bit. And then once we have that vision, here's the other magic thing to it is that vision, we use that vision as the reality. Our reality is no longer what's going on in our situation, circumstances, and condition. So when we're using that vision, that dynamic vision as our reality, now all of a sudden the road bump, the things we run into in our situations and circumstances, they're just like little road bumps that we're going through. It's just what it looks like as that vision is unfolding. And so then we start traversing that gap from where somebody's at when I meet them into that place of that vision. And in doing so, what we're doing is we're coming from the internally and building that belief in that business owner that they are at that level there. And once they get to that place internally, man, I mean, you just start seeing things just thrive. It gets so exciting. So even going through the program, it's not drudgery, it's not work. It's filled with like excitement and breakthroughs and, like, what I'm saying? And successes along the
Yeah.
way, even from the first coaching session.
So as you mentioned, first coaching section, like where do you see, when do you see the actual results happen?
Well, right from the very first, actually, before we even open up the program, I have an initial alignment call that we get on. And from there, I give them tools so they can start seeing change happening. And I've had clients within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. When I talk about rapid growth, I have out of my clients, I have clients who have gone from 7.5 to $22 million revenue within 12 months and take 5 weeks of vacation. The only time in their adult life, take 5 weeks of vacation during that year of growth. I've taken companies from 300,000 up into the millions within 12 months. I took one person that went from a couple $1,000s a month to now doing $55,000 a week in revenue,
Wow.
and the stories continue. So it's all about rapid growth. And here's the other thing with this. When I work with a client, man, this is my passion. Like I love getting to do what I do. I partner with my clients. I don't take a percentage of their business, but I have a way of doing it where we're partners in building that business.
Dr. Joseph, have you ever come across a leader or a client where he has said, okay, this hasn't worked for me, and I don't think it's something that they can do? What would be your response to them?
Yeah, so it took me a while to learn this, but what I do is not necessarily for those who need it, it's those who want it. So somebody that's not open-minded, when I tell people about, like when I'm talking to somebody and I'm telling them, true client, I can give you the name, number, you can call them. And every one of my testimonials that, out of the hundreds of people I've worked with, and I've never had anybody go through the program and not achieve beyond what they expected. And I have a guarantee, because it's been so successful, I have a guarantee of doing that. But one of the things that I run into sometimes, and it really bothers me, is when I come across somebody I cannot help. And the way I look, and the way that is like shows, is the person's not open-minded. If somebody doesn't believe they can go from 7.5 to $22 million or 300,000 into 7 digits, whatever it may be, if they don't believe it, then people who say things like, oh, that's unrealistic. That can't happen. That can't happen.
Yeah.
It'll never, ever, ever happen for them. Now, every client I work with, the one that went to 22 million, they were at 7.5. They wanted to get to 10. I helped them stretch goal that to 12.5 is what we started shooting for in the vision, and hit that within less than half a year, and then ended up, like I said, at the 22. So then we altered it from there to 20, and then they ended up at 22 and stuff. And so, but somebody who's locked into, here's what I look for. And what I tell people is, if you have a beginner mindset, you can achieve beyond your wildest dreams, and I can help you do that. The way I define a beginner mindset is we all run into people that I know, everything you tell them, I know, right? And what I tell people, a beginner mindset isn't looking at what I already know. It's looking at something and saying, what can I take from this and add to what I already know? Anybody coming from that place, I guarantee I can help them.
That's very
SMT
interesting.
method.
Yeah, I believe as it's mindset and training, you need to have that positive attitude as well, so that you can take in the training. So, Dr.
I've helped
Joseph,
people that were really beat up and were not positive at all
Mhm.
through the and started working with them because of that beginner mindset. And through the process, you started seeing a change in that person. And sometimes
Yeah.
within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the first couple weeks that we started seeing that happening and stuff.
Absolutely. When they see that what the added value
Uh-huh.
that it brings into the personal life and the professional life. What is your vision? If I ask next 5, 6 years, what are you looking at?
Yeah. So right now I'm in the process of starting to align to certify other coaches in the SMT method to expand the footprint of my life works beyond what
Mhm.
I'd be able to do by myself and with my team. And so as we start certifying other coaches to utilize the program and going through the training with me so I feel comfortable that, they're upholding the level of the program and stuff. That's like a really, really big excitement for me. And then, I just came out with my book, about reprogramming your subconscious mind. And
Mhm.
I'm working on another book right now that's all about the stuff you and I are talking about, that anxious attachment and how it shows up and what we can do about it. And in the book, I'm even going to put it like a 7-day plan. I'm really big into not just writing stuff to excite people.
Yeah.
My whole purpose and excitement of my life is helping people live better lives, not just read about what's possible. And so even in my book here, Reprogramming Your Subconscious Mind, there's a bonus thing you can go to for every chapter where it gives you a link and you can go into, and there's exercises so everybody reading the book can actually experience a change through this method. Now, it's not going to change your whole life and everything else through it, but it will start helping people experience like, wow, this is possible and it's really powerful. Because a lot of times in the business world, mindset is still set aside. And that's old patterns and behaviors and paradigms and beliefs and all that stuff. But really, when we get that alignment going, when you align your conscious and your subconscious, and then you align those to your dynamic vision, you
Mm.
cannot miss.
Uh, One piece of advice that you received that changed your perspective professionally as well as personally.
Yeah, I think the awareness was a starting point. I would say
Mhm.
a vision and spend some time writing it, but awareness. So if you're not achieving what you want to achieve, instead of
Mhm.
beating yourself up, instead of going harder, just take a few minutes, take some breaths, maybe go out into nature or something. Just ask yourself why. Because our results are determined by us. They're not determined by outside influences. If they were, we'd all be kind of screwed, to be honest with you. You've like people will tell me, and I just be really quick, but people will tell me all the time that they can't grow their business because of state of the economy or competition or whatever the reason is. And I tell them, we all know companies who've made their greatest strides in a down economy. And we all see organizations who are struggling during boom times. So it's not that outside, it's internally. So just take some time. If you're struggling, why are you struggling? What area are you struggling in? Why are you struggling? If it's not,
Mhm.
and don't allow yourself to be the victim by blaming outside influences, but look a little deeper. What could it be within me that's causing me to struggle? And there'll be some
Absolutely.
amazing ideas. If you're open minded, there'll be some amazing ideas that come up. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I came in as when they say that, but I came in as a client, like I was a guinea pig for this SMT method over 4 decades. And so when I started understanding what I just shared, that's such a powerful tool. When I started going, okay, it's me. So what is it in me doing that? All of a sudden I could start going, well, I want to do this, but I don't do it. I procrastinate or I this or I that, or I spend
Yeah.
all my time, fearing and anxiety and like all my efforts are going into that side of things. And that doesn't help it. And so I could start identifying those. And then I'll tell you, like anybody who wants to get a hold of me and talk about this stuff can go to coachwithjoey.com and schedule a
Mhm.
time with me to talk. I don't charge for it. I love doing what I do. So if I can get on the phone and help somebody to get that spark going, God, that makes for a great day for me.
Definitely. And we will add that link into our description. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. It was a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for being with us on our podcast.
The honor being here with you. Thank you.
Thank you.